Why are you in the loop you're in, and do you want to change it? Why are you in the loop you're in, and do you want to change it? Why are you in the loop you're in, and do you want to change it? Why? Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Moleski. This is my YouTube channel. You at home? Hanging out? New loop? What? Let's talk. So I recently started watching Westworld, and there's a scene where Anthony Hopkins is discussing how we're all in a loop. The machine, the AI, and the humans. And I'm not that into Westworld. And there's a scene where Anthony Hopkins is discussing how we're all in a loop. The machine, the AI, and the humans. And I'm not that into Westworld, truth be told, but that scene got me thinking about how we really are all in a loop. Is there another way to live outside of loops? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. If loops can be managed, once they're acknowledged, then we're sitting pretty. Let's delve. Our loop begins. Firstly, we are spun into a family loop, the centrifugal force of family. We are forced into it. It has an access point, and it seems as if we are suspended, floating, moving, but staying still. Our mass is small when we are small, so we are compelled to remain close to the access point. We are connected. And that's not such a bad gig for some children. Some parents teach self-responsibility, confidence, consequences for actions, manners, civility, and they keep their children close and protected, wise, strong. Some parents showcase to each other in front of their children affection, love, respect, humor, ease. These are all really good things. Playfulness. That's good. It's a great outline. It sets the stage for the children for when they must write their own script to create their own story. It gives them confidence, which is needed as their mass increases. They get bigger, they grow up, and they are slowly moved further and further from the access point. For the inevitable day when the string connecting them to the access point is cut, and they are propelled. They have a trajectory with nothing but inertia to propel them into their journey until they find a new access point. They're going, and then they find another one. It could be another human, a theory, a job, a concept, a goal. Others have lived a childhood that swings them into a harmful loop. Same access, but negative. Okay, they're still attached to that harmful access. And often, if parents are shitty, the shittiness acts like an emotional acceleration, powering the child's inertia. So the net force is so strong negatively of the family that upon release date, when they cut the cord, the child doesn't walk, they run. Children tend to think that how they were raised is how everyone was raised, at least for a while, right? But there does come a day when we witness as individuals differences from our family's dynamic in comparison to others. And that's how we begin gauging our family life, by comparison. If we're lucky, we get to witness loving families. We befriend people who give more examples to us of happiness and health, of health and happiness. The difference between our world and the world in general is not that grand. We begin to pick up on loops out in the world, and that makes it easier. We have an easier time integrating with them, the good ones, the healthy ones. The more unlucky among us who are raised in a dysfunctional family loop may meet similar people, similar poopy farts, right? Similarly dysfunctional families and form an opinion that everyone is yuck. World's yuck, yuck, yuck. Everything's yuck. Every human access point is corrupt. That's wrong, of course. But to those who haven't been in a loving family or never seen one, it might as well be true. But sometimes us grown-ups forget the differences in our lives, in loops, that we can choose our loop. Here's an example. How do you eat? I mean, what time do you normally eat? What do you normally eat? Who do you eat with? Where do you sit when you eat? Are you watching TV or are you on your phone? What do you listen to? What utensils do you use? Do you use your fingers to put the food on the fork? Or do you use your knife? Do you pair wine with your meals? Do you use paper or cloth napkins? Do you have stimulating conversation over your meals, or is that when you fight? We all have a food intake loop, and we typically don't veer far from it. So now, do you remember the last time you went to a friend's house for a meal? I use this example, this thought experiment, because for me, it's always a really interesting experience, like jolting sometimes. Everything is the same, yet it's totally different. So, for example, maybe the dinner hosts use a different kind of salt. Big rock salt in a grinder, or maybe it's in a dish. Maybe it's Himalayan, when you're used to white salt out of a shaker. They listen to classical music or no music. They use placemats or not, coasters or don't. They pray before they eat or not. They help themselves to fix their own plates or someone plates the food for them. The lighting is turned down, candles are lit, or they put on a fluorescent light above. They shovel food in their mouth or smack or eat with such a refinement that it makes you hyper aware of your lack of manners. Aware of how well-mannered you are. Yeah, you. They offer a different wine with every course or Kool-Aid for the whole thing. See, everyone eats, but we all eat differently. Our food loops are different, yet they lead to the same thing, obtaining sustenance. There's really a million ways to live a life. There are a million ways to alter your loop. That's good. All of us wake up. And that's about how much we all have in common. And not even all of us. Someday, we wake up and we have a routine. Maybe we have a shower, coffee, eat, brush our teeth, get dressed, drive to work the same way, greet our coworkers, work, go home, eat, brush our teeth, get dressed, drive to work the same way, greet our coworkers, work, go home, eat, go to bed. Routine is fine unless you're unhappy with your life. What if you're unhappy? Whatever, unhappiness happens. My question is, how big is the loop of unhappiness? Maybe it's a random unhappy day. If it's a random unhappy day, you just may be in the clear. One new loop doesn't have to throw you for a loop, but it can. It can. Sometimes we're aware of it's happening. We can feel a new loop happening, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we succumb to it, sometimes rightly, okay? Maybe someone you love has died. You were having a regular loop of a day and it's interrupted by the news. Now, you know that you have to be in a mourning loop. One must grieve. Now you have to incorporate that new into your regular loop, creating a new loop, or at the very least, an altered loop. And hopefully, eventually, you'll get back to your old loop, an even better loop. Tragedy can often make us reassess our life and make alterations within the loop. It can be a motivating force. But some people use tragedy as a reason to stay in the loop, the negative loop, the sad loop. They stay in the loop because of a negative. They have found a new access. Well, this happened, so now I'm forever going to orbit this bad thing. But as adults, we are more like a sun than a planet. We have a power to orbit where we want to. No event's gravitational pull is too strong for us, so why pretend? Why pretend weakness? Why capitulate your power to an event? Okay, perhaps we're just stuck. Orbit a planet long enough, and you get used to the landscape. Mountain, water, desert, another mountain, water, desert, another mountain, water, desert, another mountain, water, desert, another mountain, water, desert, mountain, water, desert, mountain, water, desert, mountain, water, mountain, water, mountain, water, 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 water. You become hypnotized. The more times you go around, the more enchanted you become. The more times you orbit, the more you forget that there's another path to take. Another planet with different terrain that's actually not too far from where you are now. It's just like there. If tragedy can introduce an entirely new loop, what else can? Must new loops be strictly introduced to us by external forces? How was the gym today? Did you go to the grocery store? If tragedy can introduce an entirely new loop to a person or a country, what else can? Must new loops be strictly introduced by external forces, by a whim, a tornado, a breeze? Or can we rise one morning and insert a new loop? Sometimes when I wake up, I pretend I'm a zombie. I lay back and I go, oh, okay, it's a zombie day. And I go, and that's how I start some days. So that doesn't affect me much, except for it always makes me laugh. So I guess it's still powerful. I start my day laughing, right? But what if instead of pretending you're a zombie, you decide to insert a run into your loop? You add a loop to your grander loop. And that run can become a loop. Same 2 miles every day, same time. Now you can observe other people's lives. This guy gets in his truck every day at this time. This black dog is always outside at this time and back inside at this time. There's always a group of pigeons on the telephone pole at this time. Monotony and loops. Monotony within a loop, or a loop within monotony, can still be effective. With your decision to run every day, your new loop is now orbiting other people's lives. And who knows, honestly, if that guy getting in his truck is happy, or the woman who let her dog out every day or let it back in is pleasant. I don't know. But your loops, your run, your alteration is probably shaping the rest of your life for the better. What's your loop? Has the loop become a lasso? Does it have a hold on you? Can you cut yourself free? Are you stuck in a loop? Do you like your loop? Right now, you're in my loop. Right now, you're in my loop. How long will you let the record go around the spin table before you get unstuck? Add a drop of vinegar. This is redundant at this point. I don't care. Add a drop of vinegar to your favorite batch of stew. No big deal. The stew is too powerful. But how many days in would you say, the stew tastes different? And how long would the daily drop of vinegar take to completely change the stew? Make it inedible. I wanted to give you, I think I'm making this word up, palatial, like a palate. A palate is a palatial frame of reference. That vinegar, in this story, simply represents itty bitty changes. When will you see the results of eating a healthy breakfast instead of McDonald's every day? After how many days of picking up the dictionary to learn a new word will you hear results demonstrated in your conversations? How many days of drinking will you finally fess up to alcoholism? How many times will your friend demean you before you cut the cord, before you cut access to the access? Thanks for including me today in your loop. If you'd like to incorporate more of me, feel free to subscribe. Leave a comment below if you so feel inclined. And I guess before I go, I've been thinking about this topic for a while, as my Patreons know, a week or two. And man, I couldn't have launched it at a better time. Look at the force that events can have on the mind. And then one small or one big, I think it's small, one thing can cause you to go into a loop, meaning now you're taking in certain kind of information to perpetuate the loop. And some people are freaked out in their loops. Some people are fine. What's the difference between the people? Oh, some people are stupid and some... No, God. I got into it on Facebook. No, that's not true. A woman told another woman that she was selfish and narrow-minded for flying. Because I'm not supposed to mention this on YouTube. There's new terms of service. They give out a little warning. But I said, it seems you're pretty fucking high and mighty. You have your finger on the pulse of morality to decide what is moral or not. Like, how many hours of thought did you really put into this? Or did you just wake up one morning, open Facebook, and be like, yeah, this is really selfish. Just some bullshit, instinctual loop thinking that you think is inherently correct. So I don't think it's dumb people, but it's a very interesting thing to witness how an event shapes people and how much it maybe doesn't even have to. That was just another minute or two. I just wanted to touch base on that. Anyway, that's it, everyone. I hope to see you, pretty soon. Well, I do want to do a video on this. In fact, I told her I was going to do a video, and I even offered to interview her for my channel. She gave me one of those laugh signs, so she didn't even respond. She just laughed. She's too fucking smart for me to interview. Whatever. Okay, everyone, thank you, and I'll see you next week.